There are some new updates on the FDA rules and regulations for over-the-counter hearing aids. Welcome to my channel. If you're new, my name is Emily. I created Definite Hearing as a way to increase awareness for the deaf and hard of hearing. I wear 2 hearing aids and I love them so much. I speak pretty well, so most people don't know how bad my hearing loss really is. Put your fingers in your ears. That could be similar. My hearing loss is rated as moderate to severe, and therefore I don't start hearing until the sound of a vacuum cleaner. I created this channel because I know that there are a lot of people out there like me, and in fact 30 million Americans have hearing loss, whether they know it or not. So I created this channel to encourage people to be on the lookout for signs of hearing loss and address their hearing loss as needed. In 2017, the FDA Reauthorization Act was passed. In this act, there was a clause that the FDA was required to come out with over-the-counter hearing aid rules and regulations. This requirement was mandated in an effort to make hearing devices more accessible to the American people. In some countries, like the UK, hearing devices are provided, the devices themselves, batteries, and other supplies, by the National Health Society. In America, the closest thing we have to that is Medicaid. Medicare does not cover hearing devices. Every state in America is different in terms of what devices are and are not covered. In several states, hearing aids are not considered to be medical devices or durable medical equipment. Therefore, they are also not covered by private insurance. This means that hearing aids and hearing devices can be a huge financial burden on the families that need them. In my strong opinion, this is completely unnecessary. Hearing devices are a vital part of growth and development, socialization, and developing our communities. I believe that everyone should have access to these devices that needs them. Like glasses. If you cannot see clearly, you get glasses. If you cannot hear clearly, you should get hearing aids. So in 2017, the FDA was supposed to make these over-the-counter hearing aid rules and regulations by August 18th, 2020. Let's do the math. I'm filming this in mid-2021, July 2021. So in fact, this time is greatly past. We're almost a year overdue for these rules and regulations. In fact, it looks like we're going to be pushed back yet another year. The FDA has not made this over-the-counter rules and regulations outline a priority. They released their 6-month FDA rules and regulation agenda, and creating the over-the-counter rules and regulation was not on that agenda. So therefore, if it doesn't get done in this session in 2021, it will be pushed to 2022. This means the soonest that we could hear about these over-the-counter rules and regulations is July of 2022. I am personally involved in this situation. I wear hearing devices and I am an advocate for people with hearing loss that want hearing devices. This is completely unacceptable. Over 30 million Americans have hearing loss, whether they know it or not. Hearing loss widely goes undiagnosed between children, teens, adults, and older adults, especially older folk that don't realize they're losing their hearing aid because aging is such a gradual process. Not to mention that youth today are much more susceptible and gaining hearing loss much more than youth 20 years ago due to the increased use of earbuds, headphones, and constant stimulation of sound to their ears. Let's talk about these over-the-counter hearing aids and why it's so important that we get these rules and regulations. Over-the-counter hearing aids are devices that people can wear without needing to see a doctor or physician to receive them. In America today, people can still visit hearing dispensers and receive very similar and the same brand name devices. The problem with this is if the person is not a doctor or an audiologist, they are most likely a hearing aid dispenser. This dispenser has a very different, much less certification than an audiologist. In fact, they just took a simple test or a certificate. To be a hearing aid dispenser in Florida, you literally have to be over the age of 18 and have a certificate. That's like getting a driver's license and having a stranger drive a car for you. Now, we do use Uber, so that's not as scary, but the problem with the ear is that it is a sense. There need to be scientific mappings to properly tune these hearing devices. So there's a whole debate on that. Should hearing aids be over the counter? In my opinion, yes, I think they should be available, but ultimately I think that the customers should be informed. These over-the-counter hearing aids are intended for adults with mild to moderate hearing losses. My hearing loss is rated as moderate to severe. I could wear one of these devices in my left ear, but not my right ear. And in fact, I would not wear over-the-counter devices for my hearing because my hearing is worth every penny, and I prefer to wear hearing devices that I deem as trustworthy and accountable through years of research and device performance. Also, I admit that because I am hard of hearing, I don't know what I don't hear. It's easy to put an earbud in or an AirPod in or headphones on and just bump up the volume. The problem with that is my hearing is sensitive. I'm deficient in certain frequencies and not in others. A hearing aid works like a smart device. It bumps up the sounds I need to hear, and it reduces the sounds that my ears already have down pat. For me, the high frequencies need boosting. The low frequencies, not so much. So some of the concerns with these over-the-counter hearing aid devices that people can just buy and put in their ears are that they'll put them in, maybe not tune them, and lose the residual hearing they already have because the device would act more as an amplifier rather than a hearing aid or a device that boosts the sound in areas an individual needs it. Now, Bose came out with an over-the-counter hearing aid. I have a video on that. There are options to adjust the sound settings on these devices. This is awesome. I think this is a great step in the right direction. And in fact, I think an over-the-counter hearing aid is better for individuals that maybe can't afford a hearing aid from an audiologist than nothing at all. Do you wear hearing aids? Do you wear an over-the-counter hearing device? If so, I would love to hear in the comments below. And I would love to hear how your hearing device works for you. Thanks so much for sticking around to the end of this video. If you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. I look forward to releasing more videos and giving you more updates on the hearing loss related world. I really hope the FDA can get their act together and put over-the-counter hearing aid rules and regulations on their agenda ASAP. In fact, I'm calling out the FDA right now to do this. The Food and Drug Administration is a government entity. It is by, for, and of the people. It should be taking care of things that concern the people. The pandemic is over. Let's talk about hearing aid healthcare. As always, thanks for watching my videos. I hope you stay strong, stay amazing, and have a great day.